Good morning, my lovelies, and welcome to Wednesday Wisdom Live. Let me take a drink because my throat's going to get scratchy. I'm going to be reading this morning because I'm going through my own ascension symptoms at the moment, which means that my brain gets a bit foggy halfway through when I'm talking about stuff, unless I'm channeling things, and I want to do this from my own experience. So there's Archangel Michael in the background there, just so you can see him. I want you to understand about up-leveling or awakening. And we talk about awakening. There are different phases of awakening. Awakening is when we first come into spirituality and decide we're going to be changing our life because we want to follow a spiritual path. Not religious, but spiritual. Up-leveling means we are going on to higher levels, and it also means we're heading to ascension. So what I'm talking about today is the symptoms that we'll find and what happens to us when we are reawakening to a higher level or going through ascension. Spiritual awakenings are very similar to some of these, but these are like really heightened. So they're very traumatic when we are awakening to a higher level or going through ascension. They're very traumatic and sometimes happen through extreme grief. Well, that's a spiritual awakening, I beg your pardon. It sometimes happen through extreme grief or a near-death experience, or it can happen at a time where something has rocked our boat and changed our life completely. So they happen in their own time. We can't choose to awaken. Our soul decides when it's time, and everything is in alignment for it to do so. So once we're awakened, we can't go back to sleep or shut it down or out. Doesn't matter what you do, it's open, the door's open, it can't close. It's not like Pandora's box where you can open and close the lid. There are times we go through further awakenings, which is what I'm talking about today, or up-leveling. These can be slowly or like lightning speed. So they can last for short bursts or be for a long period of time, or they can be rocking our world completely because they're so dynamic. And I'm talking today about up-leveling or awakening to a higher level. So I'll talk about how this affects you and how you can use it to your advantage. It can feel exhausting, it can feel overwhelming, hi Darlene, and frightening all at once. Any of these or all of them. Up-leveling means you're receiving more spiritual gifts, and that's important to remember. You are receiving more spiritual gifts, and you cannot receive these gifts because they are at a higher frequency. You can't receive them at your awakened level until you are up-leveling. Hi Jody. So you're receiving more spiritual gifts and knowledge through downloads. So downloads from your higher self, from the universe, from source, God, the divine, whoever you relate to. How long do these last? They last as long as they need to, depending on the gifts and the wisdom your soul has for you. So I talk about myself as going through ascension because I've gone to a certain level, and now I'm ramping that up really fast, and I have really strong symptoms. I have pretty much all of the ones I'm going to talk about later. However, no matter how long they last, when you come back to feeling normal yourself, your old ways or life no longer exist. So in other words, lots of things will change for you. You'll still be in the same job, maybe not. You'll still be in the same house, maybe not. You will feel different, you will feel you look different, and you will sound different, and the things that once excited you will no longer do so, more so than when you're awakening. There'll be changes that you have made during this time. Whether you like it or not, they're going to happen. So let's examine how this presents itself and makes you feel. Let me say we're in the period, first of all, of transition, which started in 2020 with the big C and it's going through to 2025. And I've said this for a long time. I said this before COVID actually hit. So most people who have awakened will feel these symptoms to a lesser or greater degree. And it may not just be the once, it may be many times. So get ready and be aware. We're awakening to a higher level of consciousness. The world, the planet, Mother Earth is changing her frequency, so we're stepping in line with that higher vibrational frequency of a higher, lighter, positive energy. During up-leveling, ascension, or reawakening to enlightenment, we find our mind, our body, and our soul, the trinity of us, all transition. Not one, not maybe two, the whole three of them transition. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions are all changing. Your body is changing. You may experience weight loss for no reason. You may be feeling lighter because you're radiating as a light worker through lighter vibration. So my weight story is I was trying to lose weight for the wedding. I had put on a lot of weight and I was bogged down with stuff. And I now look back and say that I'm no longer trying to lose weight. It's just happening. I now look back and say the reason I had all that weight on was because all this stuff was still in there that I needed to let go of before I could ascend. So remember this, change never comes easily. And that, Darlene, I'll talk about in a minute. There will be resistance from your thoughts and your emotions and your body. Change never comes without resistance. Whether it's a thought, our mind, our conscious mind thinking it, but change never comes without resistance. So listen and give way to what your body needs. So if your body needs rest, Darlene, have rest. Sleep, rest, food, and nurture. Eat what your body is telling you, not what you think you want, what you used to eat. What are the symptoms? They are all caused by our resistance to change. It's true, it doesn't. Change never comes without resistance. They are all caused by our resistance to change or giving over to new frequencies, and may be happening at a subconscious level. So these changes may not be something you're aware of. You know something's going on, but you don't know why it's going on. So mostly physical symptoms have no reason for their cause. So there's no medical reason. It's just they're there. I've got the headache from hell of like a brain fog this morning. That's why I had to write this down. I had to just sit down and write it because I knew I'd get to the point where I was talking and I'd lose track. So what are the symptoms? There's more than these, but these are the main ones that I know of. They're flu-like symptoms that cause aches and pains, and there's no reason for you to have a flu. It's not a flu. It's just flu-like symptoms. There's discomfort in the body, so it can be diarrhea, constipation, it can be nausea, all those sorts of things. Lots of other things as well. General aches and pains in the body. Sneezing for no reason is a very big one that most people experience. Headaches. Bursts of energy or lethargy. So you either got heaps of want to go out and do stuff and then suddenly you've got no energy whatsoever. Depression. Heightened emotions or no emotion. Wanting to go home to where you originated from, not about going home to where you were born in this physical life, but home to where you came from, where you recognize you came from, the planets, the stars, Lemuria, Atlantis, whatever you recognize as your home, wanting to go home, wanting to go back. Your soul wants to go back to where it was originally from. You have very visual or very intense dreams. Dreams that you don't normally have. They're about subjects that you would not normally dream about. You're waking at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2:22 or 3:33 or 4:44 or those sort of repetitive numbers, anywhere from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. you're letting go of or changing relationships. So that's not necessarily love relationships, but it's friendships. It's relationships like work, your besties, who you want in your space. And sensitivity is on steroids. You are highly sensitive to anything and everything. Yeah, so Darlene says Pleiades is for her. So that's, I didn't say that, but that's, yeah, it's like you just feel like you want to go home. I'm not feeling like that at the moment, but doesn't mean I won't be tomorrow. So what can you do for these things? So if you recognize these, you understand that these are all blessings. They're gifts. Your gifts are going to come. So you'll get different gifts. Like, for instance, Darlene and I are pretty much on the same wavelength here with how we're ascending at the moment. And creativity is like heightened sometimes, and other times I haven't got a creative bone in my body, because to sit down and create something, my brain just won't work. Yet there are other times I get downloads from my higher self that's what you need to be doing. And I've waited for 7 years to have that said to me. It's like, why didn't I think of that before? That's a gift. The download came that I need to do what I need to do. And Darlene knows what I'm talking about, the program I'm talking about. So it's a lightness. You feel a lightness in your body. And my change started to come from the moment I got married. The changes have been happening since then. So that's about 7 weeks for me that my changes have been happening. And some days they're worse than others, the symptoms, and other days they're okay. But I can feel, which I don't normally do, like I want to go to sleep in the middle of the day, or I can't sleep of a night, or I'm so tired I go to bed and I sleep for an hour and then I can't sleep. So the things that you can do is cut the cords of attachment to help this happen. Cut the cords of attachment to those who no longer serve your best interests. Cut the negative cords of attachment, the arguments and all those sorts of things, or the disagreements, the nasty woman at the supermarket, or the girl that yelled her head off at you when you were on the phone to her to make an appointment for the doctor, something like that. Cut those negative cords and leave the loving cords of attachment. Reinvigorate the loving cords of attachment. So you're sending love back out to people who've been nasty to you, not because you want to love them in your life, but you want to remain, just remain. Good on you, Darlene. You see, this is ascension, thinking of an opt-in. Just remain as a loving person. Rest and rejuvenate. So rest your body and let it rejuvenate itself and rejuvenate your energy. Breathe and feel into what's going on. Use your breath as a calming thing. Feel into the emotions. Let them flow, whether they're I'm not saying anger, but feel into it and find why you want to be angry with somebody. Feel into the love that you have, or the overwhelming need to cry, or the feeling that you've got no emotion when you should normally have. Just let it flow, because it's all about change. And do some root chakra work to ground yourself while you're doing this. Jody says, my awareness is heightened. I'm seeing images in lots of things other than clouds and nature. Seeing in made things like images in the bath mat where people's feet have been and lethargic. But let me see if I can click on the next. But my mind is seeing more creative ideas. And that's exactly what up-leveling is, Jody. That's exactly what ascension is all about. So doing the root chakra work is important because you need to make sure that you are grounded. Karen says, I've very much been telling myself to feel my emotions, but then let them go if they don't serve me. Exactly. Let them go, feel them, let them go, let them do what they need to do. And if it's anger, don't buy into it. Because remember, we're up-leveling with light, as light workers. Practice love and gratitude It is exciting, Jody, but beware that you don't get too excited about it, because it's a process that is absolutely life-changing. The other thing I forgot to say is, which I just had now, is intense ringing in the ears and popping in the ears. I've had that the last few days. It's like there's almost like a frequency in my ears that just won't go away. It's there for a long period of time. It can be there for hours. And the popping is always in my left ear, and it feels like the bell. I get a pop, and then I hear this noise like a bell in a boxing ring, you know, round two. Yeah, Karen wants to rip her ears off. Yeah, I'm a bit like that myself, but I've been through it before, so I know what it is. It's just what happens, and you can't change it. You can't tell it to go away. It won't go away. Your soul is doing what it needs to do for you right now. Right now. Jodie says she feels like something trickling in them. Yeah. So practice love and gratitude every day. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what anybody does for you. One little tiny thing. Be grateful for everything. And Karen says, mine's more predominant in the left ear too. Is there a reason for it being left? It's more to do with the balancing of masculine and feminine. So it sort of means that there's something not quite right on that side. It means that you need to get that. And also it's about being able to hear from passed over loved ones. Okay, so it's bringing that in as well. Watch what foods you eat and what you drink. Make sure you're hydrated, and give yourself a lot of self-care. Get out in nature and stay grounded. So I hope that's helped you today. Next week I'll be taking my my cue from, this one came from Darlene actually, she wanted this one. I'm going to take my cue from the call out that I put out for if you want me to do a video for you on any topic, then I'm going to take it from those who've replied to that. And I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm just going to throw a pin at the dartboard, so to speak. So thank you for joining me for Wednesday Wisdom. I've loved this and I love doing them. And feel into your ascension and go with it. Just keep a note of how long it's happening for and how long it's been, so that you can see you won't go through it once only, you'll go through it many times because you keep ascending to a different level. So what I want to say is, if you're going through it now, right now, you're going from the third dimension, which is the physical realm, and you're transiting the fourth dimension. For Darlene and myself, we're going past the fifth dimension, and I'm not saying you're not, but you may be. But most of you will be going through the fourth dimension, and that means you're no longer, you've got your feet in the physical world because you have to live in it, but you're not interested in the physical stuff or materialistic things or people's bullshit. So you're transiting through the fourth division to the fifth dimension, I beg your pardon. See, my brain's not working. The fifth dimension, where it's more about being that light worker and seeing things through different eyes. Okay, so love and light to you, and thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for participating. All my love. Bye.